Booga booga.
All right, we just got out of Cinemark in Fort Collins off of Timberline. Just saw Fantastic Four, and I gotta say, I was really surprised at what we saw.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it did not suck. Now I won't say that it was like, I don't know, like Avengers Infinity War level.
It didn't have that wow. It had a very slow boil up. It definitely kept true to that 1960s and 50s feel. That kind of wholesome superhero.
Yeah, to the point where it's almost like you're watching Brady Bunch at times.
Yeah.
It wore a little thin at the beginning for me, but understanding that, it was kind of harkening back to that 50s kind of concept, kind of like Leave It to Beaver style. Eventually I got into it. It doesn't mean that there weren't like no serious moments or anything like that. There were plenty of those. So, by and large, this is a good, no pun intended. I know it's Fantastic Four first steps. It was a good first step.
It was a good first step. I love the homages to the first ever comic book of Fantastic Four. Mole Man coming out. I thought that was hilarious and perfectly cast. There's definitely some cameos in there of people that would, you just don't see anymore on the screen, which is nice to see. And just keeping true, the whole way through to the 1960s vibe, while keeping it futuristic like comics was kind of fun. So
and they did something that, and I would actually say this is a very big deal for them, and they can hang this on their hat. They can say that they actually accomplished something big. They actually pulled off Galactus, which I'm not a huge Galactus guy. I've always thought that he was very stupid looking, but the fact that they actually were able to pull him off, and by the end of it, I was like, okay, he doesn't look stupid.
Yeah,
this is actually a cool character.
Which is good, because compared to that last one that they had, where Galactus was a giant cloud-eating machine, like this was actually nice. I think they used a little bit of inspiration from Thanos and turning the humanized factor into it.
Yes.
Where, I was also surprised with Silver Surfer. I didn't know how I was going to feel about that, the gender swap on Silver Surfer, where they went with the modern Surfer rather than the original. But it actually worked out.
I didn't hate it.
No, it worked out. I mean, this is one that I thought was cool. Surfer showed the power that Silver Surfer had. Also staying true to the comics too, where Surfer that actually ended the first battle of Galactus. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and for what they were trying to write in for this Silver Surfer, I could be totally wrong. I'm not super familiar with the Silver Surfer, so I don't know. But how she was written seemed to be in a much more kind of emotional, dare I say, feminine way. So how they wrote the script, it made more sense for a female surfer, where I don't think if you hit like Horn Rand in there, I don't think it would have worked out particularly well.
Agreed. And you know what? It's funny because I also thought it stayed true to the true nature of Surfer, who was actually naturally fairly feminine, not hyper aggressive. It was kind of that mellow, even keel Harold. I mean, it was kind of crazy. The one thing that did throw me off, though, is actually Franklin Richards being introduced into this first film. That's a really big step.
You're going to have to tell me about this.
Yeah,
I know nothing about Franklin.
Franklin Richards is considered the most powerful of all Marvel characters. Nothing is more powerful. He's the Omega level of Omega levels, but he's not introduced in comics until much, 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 much later.
Okay.
So the bounce around was kind of insane and where they're going with this, because to me they can now go from this First Steps movie to Avengers Doomsday, which we saw a tidbit at the end credits.
There was the cameo with Dr. Doom,
but
with Franklin.
Now I'm thinking that they're going to go Doom 2099, which in the comic books, this is where Doom becomes one of the most powerful entities. Like, Doom destroys the Marvel Universe. That's one of the comic books.
I've seen images of Doom in a white cloak.
Yes.
That?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where that would tie in, where that Franklin Richards jump would happen, because Richards in the comic books, he actually makes Galactus his herald at a young age. So it's one of those things where it's funny, where you have this, cosmic storm, which is Galactus, and then all of a sudden you throw in Franklin Richards, which makes Galactus look like a poor child. Like,
interesting.
he's so absurdly overpowered that it's a bold move. by Feige and Marvel to actually throw it in that soon. And, you know, that kind of showed with Sue Storm, and I was actually really happy that they gave her love. She's also, within comics, cartoon, all that stuff, she's actually kind of lame in those.
Yeah.
When she is a very, very overpowered character later on in the game.
Well, it definitely came through in this movie. There to the point where I was kind of like, I had to ask myself, is it correct that we are seeing her in effect? If you guys haven't seen it, spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
spoiler, it's all over this.
She basically, she's the one who beat Galactus,
Yeah.
which I don't have an issue with in and of itself, but to me, it's the Invisible Woman.
Mhm.
Kind of like you're saying how she's typically portrayed as being somewhat lame.
Yeah.
That's kind of the expectation I have. So
100%.
then seeing her actually do it, I'm kind of, okay. I just had to kind of get myself in the headspace. And when I saw it, I was just, all right, well,
Yeah.
I don't hate this. This isn't the worst way to do it. Personally, I wouldn't have had a better way to do it because it's Galactus.
It's Galactus. There's only so much. I mean, that's a real big first villain to introduce. I mean, that's.
I'm surprised that they were able to pull it off.
Yeah,
In a
me too.
2-hour movie, roughly.
I mean, completely shocked and surprised. Again, I don't know. Personally, I don't know if I would have gone Galactus first.
Yeah.
That's real big. I would have done Doom first.
Interesting.
The reason for that being that Doom was introduced technically first.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, it's just, that's a real big foot to stand
Yeah.
on. And, you know, if they stay true to the comics, Galactus is going to come back, God, 10 more times.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
Doom, they showed the little, you know, Latvia or wherever he was from, him
Yeah.
missing at the council multiple
Uh-huh.
times. I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, cool. We're going to see something at the end screen.
Yeah.
But we'll see which Doom he comes out to be.
Yeah.
He's either going to be underpowered or he's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme version of Doom, which is basically cosmic power Doom. And it depends on what Robert Downey Jr. wants to come back as. I mean, how do you throw down from Iron Man to switching universes and now becoming this? It'll be interesting. But overall,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the movie was actually really solid.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was a slow build, slow pace.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, I was like, okay, cool. I get the homages. You're kind of doing your work on this one. And I think that was a big nod to actual Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
And, you know, not so much Stan Lee on this one, but Kirby's efforts on keeping things wholesome and making sure that there is a Americana throughout everything. Sorry, we have a friend in the background. He wants to see the movie too. But as a whole, you know, I like the fact that on the ship it was United States, USA, because that was such a big thing when the comics came out at first. You know, they wanted to showcase Americana, America having power, but also unifying the world together,
Yes.
which I thought was cool. It wasn't done in a cheesy way, so
No.
I was kind of happy there.
No, in a weird way, it kind of reminded me of Independence Day, the first
Yes,
Independence Day,
100%.
where you actually saw the world having to work
100%.
together to fight against an existential threat. And this, it made sense.
Mhm.
They were able to do it well. They covered a lot of ground in a very short period of time. For the most part, never felt forced.
Mhm.
You know, it was actually reasonably paced.
Yeah.
I would say.
No,
Reasonably
it's
paced.
definitely did it well. It was a well done job, and you know, it's actually surprising to say that nowadays with the Marvel movie. I didn't want to just like cry in a corner after watching it. I don't know. It's not another Marvel movie where you're just like, okay, cool. I saw it. I lost 2 hours of my life. I'm
Yeah.
never getting back. This I'm actually excited for. It got me pumped up for Avengers Doomsday, which is surprising because I thought the Avengers whole precedent was dead in water. So I'm kind of pumped up to see what's going to happen in Doom.
At the very least, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm interested now.
The interest is definitely there. I'm excited too for where this Fantastic Four franchise is going to go because this
Yeah.
will become the Marvel future. Avengers is going to go eventually into New Avengers, which is awful. So I think that Fantastic Four is going to be their new baby that they're going to lean on until X-Men gets released.
Yeah.
And then that will be, I think that first X-Men is going to make or break what happens and whether or not they push through Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, overall,
Not bad.
pretty good. I was,
Not bad.
like I said, I was shocked and surprised. Marvel, you actually did it again. It took you a few, but you did it. Well done. Got us intrigued. Awesome.
All right, guys.
Until
Well,
the next one.
That's it. Stay tuned. We will be releasing a full-length podcast. We're going to go a little bit more in-depth into Fantastic Four, thoughts, reactions, things like that. See you guys next time.
Have a great one. And Cinemark, thanks again.
Yes,
Awesome
thank
theater. It's a great place to watch it. All right, till next time. Booga booga.
Booga booga.
Booga booga.